Lately, the European Union has been stepping up efforts to make deportations faster, easier, and more routine. And Africans are increasingly at the center of that push, among them Nigerians. By late 2025, Statewatch, an European civil liberties organization, reported that more than 1,800 Nigerians had been deported from Europe alone. But figures from a Nigerian government official suggest the picture is far bigger. At least 21,000 Nigerians were deported globally in 2025. At Insight Vodcast, we've already explained that these deportations are not random. They're part of a coordinated migration strategy, and Nigeria sits firmly in its crosshairs. Today, we go further. We examine how Nigerians are deported, how they're treated during the process, and what actually happens when they arrive back home. To understand the human reality behind the numbers, I spoke with Rex Osa, a Germany-based refugee rights activist. He is the founder of Refugee for Refugees and coordinates volunteers who receive deportees when they land in Nigeria. Rex describes a deeply troubling pattern. People sometimes picked up in the middle of the night, pulled from their beds, rough-handled by the police, and placed directly on Nigeria-bound flights. And when those flights land in Lagos, he says the trauma doesn't end. Many deportees are abandoned at the airport with little or no structured support from Nigerian authorities.
People are actually picked up from sleep in the middle of the night, roughly handled by police, even in the presence of their kids. They are bundled like criminals and taken into deportation custody or directly to the airport and deprived access to their lawyers in most cases. There are persons with severe health conditions backed up with medical certifications as unfit to fly. These people are also violently smuggled into charter deportation flights, even including children with special needs, born in Germany and had never had anything to do with Nigeria except having heard about Nigeria or seen Nigeria on TVs. These are the people who are massively deported in the midst of massive police escort on board deportation flight. The most recent deportation of a family around Stuttgart in December, just about 3 weeks ago, confirms Germany's determination to violate its own laws. With a valid residence permit to pick up at the local foreign office, only to be picked up and deported to Nigeria. That is an highlight of the controversial culture of German deportation enforcement.
The instance you just gave now, can we go over that again? You're talking about someone who already has a valid residence permit. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So tell me what happened in that instance.
Normally when you apply for a residence permit, it depends on, because the residence permit issue in Germany is always attached to paragraphs. So when you have an application ongoing for a residence permit and it is confirmed that yes, you are eligible for the residence permit, you are fingerprinted. And then after the fingerprinting, you have to wait for the residence card to be issued. So in between this time of waiting, which is in most cases like 4 weeks, you receive a letter, a computerized letter that sends you your passcode for your plastic cards. And just to let you know that the plastic card is on the way. But just a few days before she had to pick it up from the foreign office, the local foreign office, she was swept up by police in the night with 2 kids and deported to Nigeria. And
did she inform them that she was already just waiting for our card?
That is a question now that we are asking to say, okay, is it that the system that we used to know to be very central, that every information is like in the same database, does it function? Or is it a deliberate attempt just to deport people, and if they cannot fight back, then they are lost at the end of the day? So that's why we say it's a controversial culture of the German deportation enforcement.
Well, I mean, so now let's talk about what happens when people who are deported arrives in Nigeria. Earlier on, you gave an instance where you were expecting somebody in Lagos, but then the person was taken to Abuja. What sort of coordination exists between Nigerian authorities and the German authorities in terms of how these deportations are handled, and how do people get treated when they arrive in Nigeria?
This question brings us to the problem of responsibility in the Nigerian system. You can imagine after 12 hours, at least 12 hours of traumatic experience, talking from the time of the police enforcement of arrest. These people are made to go through really traumatic experiences during arrest, on board the flight, including children and sick people, and then arriving in Lagos, received by Nigerian Immigration Service officials who are now undergoing profiling of these people. That means checking up their names, and that's all. And then conveyed in an airport shuttle bus that brings them outside the airport premises and left to be on their own. These people are Nigerians, returning Nigerians who had lived outside the country for many years in most cases and never had contact even to Lagos. The absence of agencies like the National Commission for Refugees, the absence of agencies like National Commission for Migrant, Refugees and Internally Displaced Persons and Human Rights Commissions, as well as other institutions that are supposed to be responsible to offer proper reception, medical care and reintegration for fellow returning Nigerians in this distress situation concerns an absolute lack of responsibility with our institutions.
So now help me to understand what you've just described. So if someone is deported, a Nigerian is deported, Nigerian arrives at the Nigerian airport, and then they're processed by immigration, put in a vehicle, and driven out of the airport premises and then abandoned on the road. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
And who puts them in this vehicle? The immigration service, or what agency of government is that?
The immigration is responsible for profiling of these persons, and thereafter an airport shuttle bus is organized to take the persons out of the airport premises and dump them outside.
So the bus doesn't have a specific address it's taking them to?
No, it drops them in front of the airport gate. Just bring them outside the gate, the main gate of the airport, and drop them on the lonely airport road express, between the express and the gate of the airport.
Really? How often does this happen?
The deportation is usually once in a month at least. And on certain occasions, it could be 2 times in a month, just like in December. And so that is the experience we have. We are challenged with every month.
So what do you do about such situations?
Yeah, it is based on our experience since 2019 that people are dumped outside the gate and abandoned and left stranded. That was why we started this volunteering work at the airport to observe the deportation and make sure nobody is left around the airport area stranded. At least a night or 2 nights accommodation, support for transportation to get out of the area, just to make sure everybody leaves that point in time, because living on the street in Lagos, especially in that area at night, is very dangerous, as you all know.
Are you engaging with any Nigerian government agency about how Nigerian deportees are treated at the airport, and what sort of response are you getting?
Yeah, it's really sad also. Because like I started with, it's a question of responsibility and passion for doing things. I have been always connected with National Commission for Migrants, Refugees and Internally Displaced Persons. So it's a matter of passion, I would say, because I don't know how to describe it. I try to make them understand what we are doing as private persons, and then to challenge government responsibility, but there seemed to be no real concern. The only 1 or 2 times they arrived at the airport out of these calls, they just only look at the flight and see the people coming out and being profiled and just talk. And after talking, they leave without even checking where the people are being thrown outside. When the people are being thrown outside, no one cares about what happens to them after. You can imagine coming to the immigration spot inside the tarmac and just asking people, taking names and sharing telephone number, and not caring to know where they are being dumped at the end of the day. It's shameful.
Now, those are serious claims, and they raise an important question. What is Nigeria's official protocol for receiving deported citizens? To answer that, I spoke with Ambassador Catherine Udida, Director of Migrant Affairs at Nigeria's National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons. I asked her directly, what is Nigeria supposed to do when its citizens are deported, especially from Europe?
The Commission has an SOP, Standard Operating Procedure, that guides all our returns, involving all stakeholders. And so for each return, when we have a pre-departure information, we engage the Minister of Foreign Affairs that will naturally inform the embassies of those countries. Okay. If it's a bilateral return, like for instance from UK, from Germany. Okay. However, some of those returns are organized by international organizations like IOM. And so we have pre-departure engagement, including pre-departure counseling by counselors in those countries. And so as you're talking about Europe, for instance, we have returns organized by Frontex. Mm-hmm. And then we have partners here like IRARA that is involved in those returns. And so we get pre-departure information. When we do that, as a commission, we engage all stakeholders, and we are at the airports. We receive them, whether it's through chartered flights or regular flights, we receive them, and then we give them welcome packs, with dignity kits inside, warm meals. And then during that time, we also do profiling to engage those returnees to get their vulnerabilities. Some people come with mental health issues. Some people come with real health issues, that medical issues that we need to take to hospital. That's why we have the port health. So port health is usually there during returns. And so we as a commission will follow up and we take care of the bills. However, it is only those returns that are reported to us, because we do not do that if we don't know if somebody is coming.
Can I check something? So how often do you get this pre-return, kind of information?
For instance, now we are having a lot of returns from Sudan, a lot of returns from Libya, because of externalization of the borders. We have from Libya, Morocco, from Tunisia, Algeria. Those are routine. Last year alone, we had about 21,000 Nigerians that were returned. But for Europe and Frontex flights, they are not often. But all Frontex flights, whether they are coming to Lagos or coming to Abuja, we get to know about it, maybe not for a long time, and is what I was explaining. Sometimes we don't have enough time to really get to know more about those coming. But going forward, in the past several months, we insist that we get a little bit of information on those who are coming. And so for flights that are Frontex flights, I am aware that we do the needful. However, if there are other flights from Europe that we are not aware of, I am not able to speak on that.
How would you then react to claims that, that some Nigerians who are deported are often abandoned at the airport, and that due care is not taken to ascertain how they may have been treated pre-deportation, or in fact in the course of the deportation process?
Like I explained to you, we have stakeholders in returns. And so I expect that we have Nigerian Immigration Service to admit, and then we have pre-departure stakeholders, Foreign Affairs, Nigerians in diaspora, who may have information regarding those who are coming back. We expect that those people should inform us. If they inform the commission, we will now make arrangements and ensure that everybody that comes is properly taken care of. However, if there have been returns, when we have not been informed, so it's not possible for us to ensure that those people have been properly treated.
So you earlier you mentioned your care package. What does that care package, the average care package, what does it entail?
You know, sometimes, especially for forced returnees, like the deportees, sometimes they just don't give them opportunity to bring their bags, and they are picked around from the streets, and then put in detention facilities against the GCM objective, where detention is not allowed for migration-related issues. So when they come in, we need to give them the basic. They will have a clean shirt, underwears. For babies, we have nappies. We have food. We have towels, just sanitary towels for the ladies. We have wrappers in those packs. We have toothbrushes, toothpaste, sponge. We have soap, washing soap and bathing soap. We have torchlights for them. We have socks. We have jalabia, for men, the overall, which is easier for them to wear. And then, of course, underwear is generally for the ladies, and many other things in a bag. So when they come in, they're handed that bag, and it does a lot. It just gives them the impression that they are accepted back into the country, they are loved by their country. And so from that, reintegration becomes a little bit easier, because they now know government is here to receive them, with warmth and bring them in with dignity.
You've now heard from two sides of the same system: the lived experience on the ground and the official policy. So where is the gap, and who is falling through it? If you've experienced this or know someone who has, share your story. This is the Insight Vodcast, connecting the dots between global migration policy and the real human cost it leaves behind.